Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another video. I haven't made a proper long video like this in a while, so I apologize for that, but we're back, and hopefully I can start pumping out more consistent content for you guys. Now, I'm starting a new series on this channel, and I'm calling it Nova's Analysis. It's kind of like a similar idea to what I had going on before with the It's a Good series I tried to start a while back with Beastars, if you guys remember that video. Full season analysis on that coming in the future, but rebranded and more organized. I'm splitting it into 5 segments. The what is blank segment, meaning what the actual game is and the game overall. The story segment, which it talks about the plot and everything, and this will be a spoiler-free zone, so don't worry about any type of spoilers. The gameplay segment, which talks about the actual mechanics of the game. The is it worth trying segment, which is just a smaller section that is just gonna answer all the questions that would involve you actually trying the game. Then Nova Time, where I just talk about everything I liked about it personally and give it a rating, which is my personal rating by the by, so please don't get offended by anything I give it. All settled? Now the game I'm going to be reviewing today is Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. Arisen is actually a re-release / expansion on the original game Dragon's Dogma. It was released on April 23rd, 2013. It has everything the original Dragon's Dogma had, including a new location where the game is centered around in this rendition called Bitter Black Isle, along with numerous new weapons, armor, skills, etc. Currently it is playable on the Nintendo Switch, Xbox One and Xbox 360, PlayStation 4 and 3, and Windows via Steam. But if you want to play it at a playable frame rate, console is better because it's terribly optimized for PC for some reason. It's also a action role-playing game developed and published by Capcom. In the game, you are what is called the Arisen. Basically, you are special because a dragon was like, ooh, yummy heart, and you lived, and you became the Arisen. Kind of like a reverse Dragonborn from Skyrim. Instead of killing a dragon and you become special, the dragon kills you and you become special.
That makes sense to me.
You then set out to get your heart back from the dragon who stole it and do all sorts of adventures during the process. But in Dark Arisen, you get to go to the aforementioned Bitter Black Isle to help a woman in black solve the mystery behind the location. It's almost like a completely different game from the enemies that can spawn in it, the weapons that can spawn in it, the layout, everything. It is honestly a really nice piece of side content while also feeling like its own separate entity from the main game. In Dark Arisen, you play as your character, along with up to 3 pawns, which are basically your homies. You have one main pawn, which is the pawn you start with and sticks with you basically the whole game. You create the pawn just like your main character, and then there are your unique pawn that is only your pawn and your pawn only. Then you got 2 optional pawns, which can be either an NPC pawn or a pawn that is made by another player if you're connected to the internet. You can even use your friend's pawns. Now, your pawn can die, but they never die permanently. As long as you touch what is called a Rift Stone, they can come back basically anytime. The Rift Stone also fully heals them, but not you sadly. The Rift Stone basically acts like the hub for pawns, but you can also switch pawns out with other pawns, update your pawn's info, heal them, basically anything you want to do that involve pawns, you're gonna need a Rift Stone. There are 8 vocations, aka classes, you can choose from. There's the Mage, the Fighter, Strider, Warrior, Ranger, Sorcerer, Magic Archer, Mystic Knight, and Assassin. How the vocations work basically is you got the 3 base classes, being Fighter, Mage, and Strider, the buff versions of those classes, which is Warrior, Sorcerer, and Ranger. Then you got the hybrids, which is Magic Archer being a Strider and Mage mix, Mystic Knight being a Mage and Fighter mix, and Assassin being a Strider and Fighter mix. Now, they aren't both classes combined, mind you, just that they have certain traits from both classes to make a completely new one. You have your normal skills you can level up and learn for your class, but then there's also these personal kind of buffs called augments, which can really make a difference for your gameplay. Like you can have an augment to get more health back from healing, like eating restorative items or potions or whatever, or you can make it so you don't get one shot, basically meaning that if you get hit by an attack that would normally kill you and bring your health to 0, it will actually bring it to 1 instead of 0. Or you can make it so you don't get knocked down as easily, all sorts of things really. You can even change your main pawn and your vocations anytime, literally anytime you want to go to an inn. If you're tired of being a melee boyo, you can shoot some magic, and then boom, you can just change at the end whenever you want. You can even change your entire skill set anytime at the same rest areas, so you are never limited to just one playstyle. In the game, there's really only one place that is considered a main city called Grand Soren, but most of, if not all the weapons at least you'll be getting probably won't be from there. Just a fair warning. Bitter Black, well, it is awesome. I recommend you go in only when you've beaten the main story. Otherwise, it's gonna be a nightmare to try and go through. No, I don't have any personal experience, don't ask me. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it is even possible to really progress Bitter Black until after the main story is completed, but correct me if I'm wrong. The max level of Dragon's Dogma is 200, or Dark Arisen it's 200, and Dragon's Dogma in original it was lower, but now in Dark Arisen it is 200. But realistically speaking, you only really need to be 130 or so to venture into Bitter Black, so don't worry about min-maxing for it. Abso-fucking-lutely you should try it. If you like games like Dark Souls, Skyrim, or even Elden Ring, I'd highly recommend it. Even if you've never played any of those games, it's a really good entry-level RPG that scales up in difficulty fairly well for the more hardcore gamers, while also not being too hardcore for the casual gamers who are just trying to get through the story. But the challenge is there for those who want it, but I would recommend just doing whatever is more comfortable for you. I personally would really recommend it myself too. It is a game that I've beaten literally 3 times. Yes, 3 times. So I'd say it's pretty freaking good. I will say it felt like it could have been a little bit less grindy, because if you really wanted the best of the best gear, you literally had to run through Bitter Black for hours and hours on end. While it can be fun for some people, it can be also equally annoying, especially considering you need to have that type of gear just to even attempt to take on the harder bosses and enemies. But overall, it's an awesome experience of a game, and I would give it a solid 100 out of 100 on the yas meter. I'm not biased, I swear. But seriously, if you haven't already, do yourself a favor and pick this game up. You won't regret it, I promise you. That'll do it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and let me know if there are any games, movies, or TV shows that you want me to cover next on this show. And let me know what you guys think of these. I really wanted to try something new with my content and figured, why the hell not? Anyway, this was Nova, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.